You're listening to vNacelle Insights, where we bring you valuable information on accelerating business value, business transitions, employee engagement, visual process mapping, self-awareness, and entrepreneurial excellence. Hello everyone, this is Kevin with vNacelle. Today we are continuing our 10-part series on the transition roadmap developer called The 10 Truths of Family Business Transition. Today's topic is, the next generation knows more than you think, and they also don't know enough. Let's join Jimmy as he shares today's topic.
For the last few weeks, we've been talking about 10 truths of family business transitions that we see at vNacelle working with business owners across the country. This week brings us to truth number 7, and that is the next generation knows more than you think, and they also don't know enough. It is true that the generation coming in often knows more than the retiring generation realizes and acknowledges. They may have been working in the business for a few years. They've developed, many of them, a tremendous work ethic. They've developed that from watching mom and dad work hard at the business and invest and sacrifice and put in the long hours. Often that next generation has developed some tremendous competencies around the various areas of the family business that they work in. As they were growing up, they grew up with a wider perspective on life than many of us had at the same age, and that often includes their perspective on business. They've had access to more information, and most of them have been very quick to adapt to technologies that they apply to make life simpler and more efficient and more productive, and not just in their personal life, but they apply those technologies into their business life as well. Oftentimes they've got a great perspective on additional products and services that can be offered by the company, and they have that for a variety of reasons. The business was normally bigger when they joined, and so they had more exposure in a broader business offering. They had the energy, or they have the energy that an aging entrepreneur may no longer have to press into new product and service areas. They're often much more willing to take on risk for several reasons, including the fact that they have a longer time horizon than maybe an exiting entrepreneur who's more concerned about taking a step back and moving into retirement. All those things serve the new generation very well as they move into the ownership position within a company. And again, very often the family doesn't really realize just how much energy and enthusiasm and competency and knowledge and skill they'll bring into those roles. But at the same time, the old adage goes, we don't know what we don't know. And it's true for the next generation of owners as well. There are some areas where they simply don't know enough. Many of them haven't been through a recession before, even if they joined the company as an employee prior to the Great Recession in 2008 and 2009. They don't truly understand what it's like to run a company through a downturn and the hard business decisions that have to be made regarding labor and costs and expenses and all those things. Many of them underestimate the gaps in management and leadership that may be present when mom and dad finally retire from the business. They haven't sat in the C-level positions. They haven't been the CEO or the CFO, and so they can't know what goes into those day-to-day business operational decisions from that level, and so they just underestimate the knowledge that they're going to need in that role. Sometimes some families may have sheltered them from some of the harsher sides of business, so they really haven't seen some of the things that they'll need to see and understand and grasp and execute on as owners. Very often they fail to understand the importance of the culture of the company and just how tied that culture may be to the entrepreneur who built the business, the parent who may be looking to exit. And they fail to understand the importance of really transferring that culture and that loyalty of those employees and that team to the new set of owners that's preparing to take over. They also underestimate, and this may be especially true of their spouses if they're married and their spouses are not active in the business, but they underestimate the need for delayed gratification as a business owner. Even though they saw mom and dad make sacrifices, very often the business has advanced far beyond some of those times of sacrifice, and they don't really realize that the business is actually headed potentially into a time where there's going to need to be some additional sacrifice, because as the exiting owners retired, most of the time there's some kind of payment, payout, purchase agreement that has to be executed and performed on by the new owners, which puts a new constraint on cash flow, which may limit them from giving themselves a big raise or investing the funds in another area of the business that they think there would be a strong return on investment on. And so that need to understand delayed gratification and the importance of continued business growth to be able to finance not only the purchase, the buyout, but also the growth of the business. And perhaps now the business has to support 3 families instead of 1, and all the things that go with that, are particularly important for the next generation to really think through as they start to move into leadership. So some of the things that we've seen help the next generation as they move in, as we think about what they know versus what they don't know, is to, number one, really focus on what we talked about last week. Elizabeth talked about the fact that ownership transfer is a journey. It's not a one-time event. And so taking some time and being very intentional about the knowledge transfer is really, really helpful. Making the leaving period potentially longer, where there's some time for the entrepreneur to be away as the new generation starts to run the business, but still come back in, certainly from a board role, but also even from a day-to-day operational role to continue to be involved, maybe not as many hours, maybe less often over time, but still be there to protect decisions and to protect customers and to continue to make sure the business is doing well as the transfer takes place. Another thing that's really important to consider is to make sure that the strengths of the kids are going to match the needs of their new role. Very often positions change as one owner retires and steps out and a new generation steps in. And just remember that you need to be very intentional about how you select who will go into what role. The oldest may or may not be wired to be the best CEO. They may be much better suited for a different role in the company. The CEO may be best held by a younger sibling or a cousin, or maybe even an outsider if there's nobody within the family who's got the skills to function in that role well. Another thing to consider is thinking about just adding outside advisors, consultants who can help with the transition, who can help with coaching and preparation for the next generation to get their skills ready, and also to help the exiting generation learn how to teach and let go of control and cede power as the new generation comes on. And potentially adding advisors to your board, either formally or informally as the case may be, so that the governance structure of the company is strong and impartial and based upon making decisions that are in the best interest of growing the business. Those are some things that will help as you think through how to get the next generation ready and equip them to learn the things they don't know to take over the business.
That's all the time that we have today. I want to thank everyone on behalf of vNacelle for joining us. For more information on this and the other services provided by vNacelle, please visit our website at www.vnacelle.com. Again, that's www.vnacelle.com. To schedule a 3/3 meeting and talk one-on-one with someone from the vNacelle team about how we can help you, please call us at 303-790-0754. Again, that's 303-790-0754. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.